In today's documentary, we explore the massive global shift changing what's stamped on your phone, your car, and even your clothes, why companies are moving factories out of China, and how this new China Plus One strategy is reshaping the world economy. It all began decades ago when China became the world's factory, combining cheap labor, booming ports, and a government willing to build roads, power plants, and special economic zones faster than anywhere else. From the early 1990s into the 2000s, as China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001, global brands from Apple and Nike to Samsung, Toyota, and hundreds more built supply chains that ran through Chinese megacities like Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Shanghai. These networks became so efficient that a single smartphone could have parts crossing borders dozens of times before final assembly. But starting in the late 2010s, a quiet but powerful change began. Rising wages in China, a shrinking working-age population, stricter environmental rules, and above all, geopolitical risk. The US-China trade war launched in 2018 added billions of dollars in tariffs, shaking boardrooms worldwide. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic, which shut down ports, stranded containers, and made companies realize that ultra-lean, just-in-time supply chains might save money, but leave them vulnerable. By 2022 to 2025, new shocks piled up: US export bans on AI chips, pressure on allies like Japan and the Netherlands to limit advanced semiconductor equipment, and in return, China's export controls on rare earth metals and gallium. Suddenly, the fear wasn't just cost, it was being cut off entirely from critical inputs or markets. Enter China Plus One, a strategy where businesses keep some production in China for its unmatched scale and know-how, but add factories elsewhere: Vietnam, India, Mexico, Indonesia, Thailand, Poland, and even Ethiopia. Apple began assembling iPhones and now MacBooks in India and Vietnam. Samsung's largest smartphone plant today is in Vietnam, employing tens of thousands. Automakers shifted wire harness production to Mexico and Slovakia. Clothing brands opened new plants in Bangladesh and Cambodia. But why not leave China completely? Because even as assembly moves, many critical parts, advanced chips, EV batteries, rare earth magnets, precision motors still come from China, showing just how deeply China is embedded in modern manufacturing. Beyond parts, China also has unmatched clusters of skilled workers, local suppliers, logistics, and infrastructure. Moving production takes years, training workers takes time, and new suppliers must prove they can meet strict global standards. Yet the shift is visible. Vietnam's ports handle record volumes. India's government offers billion-dollar incentives to lure phone and chip makers. Mexico, thanks to its USMCA trade deal, sees new factories spring up near the US border. This isn't just about saving money anymore, it's about resilience, geopolitics, and avoiding future tariffs or sanctions. For Western governments, it's also about national security. A future crisis over Taiwan or another diplomatic conflict could disrupt trade overnight. But this story isn't just about factories, it's about people. New jobs in Mexican border towns, Vietnamese coastal cities, and Indian industrial hubs, rising wages in Southeast Asia, and local governments racing to improve power grids and ports. Yet there are also losers. Some Chinese coastal cities feel the slowdown, and workers in places losing low-cost assembly jobs face uncertainty. Meanwhile, China is pivoting, climbing up the value chain to produce EVs, AI chips, and export higher-tech products worldwide. BYD has overtaken Tesla in total EV sales. Huawei developed a 7nm chip despite US sanctions, and CATL, China's battery giant, now supplies automakers globally. So is this real decoupling or just de-risking? Experts say it's mixed. Sensitive sectors like AI chips, military tech, and critical infrastructure move fastest. Mass-market consumer goods shift gradually, but China keeps a key role in the middle. Over these 2 hours, we'll trace the full evolution, from the 1990s boom in WTO accession, through crises like SARS and the 2008 financial meltdown, to the pandemic and the modern chip war. We'll visit ports in Haiphong and Ho Chi Minh City, factories outside Chennai and Monterrey, and talk to managers balancing cost versus risk. We'll explain why supply chains can move overnight and why reshoring back to the US or Europe faces its own cost and labor challenges. You'll see how the new trade map is forming: Vietnam becoming an electronics hub, India rising in smartphones and textiles, Mexico in auto parts and home appliances, and Thailand in automotive assembly. We'll explore who gains and who loses, which countries attract billions in foreign investment and which see factories close. We'll discuss the environmental side. Can new supply chains be cleaner, or will building new plants increase emissions? And we'll ask what happens next. Could new shocks, a Taiwan crisis, energy crunch, or new sanctions speed the shift? Could automation, AI, and 3D printing make location less important, bringing production closer to consumers? And do buyers care if their products say made in Vietnam or made in Mexico instead of made in China? Beyond geopolitics, this is a human story. Millions of workers retraining, cities reinventing, and whole regions competing to be part of the next global supply chain. We'll also talk about the hidden costs, rising prices, longer shipping routes, and new bottlenecks. In the end, the push to de-risk is real and likely to accelerate, but the world remains deeply interconnected. Even as factories move, the knowledge suppliers and investment ties built over 30 years in China won't vanish overnight. Thank you for watching this deep dive from Trade War Daily. Subscribe for daily updates on tariffs, tech bans, and the global forces reshaping how the world builds, buys, and trades. Because behind every product you touch, there's a supply chain, and today, those chains are shifting faster than ever in ways that could transform economies, industries, and daily life across the globe.